This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello, it's Tuesday, September 21st. Rich Pope here with Brian Gillespie and Dwayne Bevel. We got some good topics we're going to get into today. We're going to look at COVID-19 here in the region. Good news there. Also, we're going to find out about Epcot's new restaurant, Space 220. We'll get a first look at that one as well. We're going to start here with Brian Gillespie. So good news right now with COVID numbers in the area. We're seeing better numbers than we did last month. What's going on, Ryan?
Yeah, it's good news in the context of the Delta variant. We're still not in a great position in terms of the World Health Organization recommends communities have positivity rates of about 5%. If you can sustain that, that's a sign that you've got really the virus under control in a given area. We're more than double that at this point. We're at 11%. But if there is good news, it's that we are no longer at 20% or higher, which we were at times last month as the Delta variant really kind of took over here.
Okay, some other news coming out of Pfizer, the vaccination. They have said that it is safe for younger children, 5 to 11 right now. This seems to be a pretty big deal for the region as well.
Yeah, so to get these vaccines approved, it's a pretty lengthy process. So what happened this week is Pfizer, who manufactures vaccine, has said that their shot has shown effective and safe for children aged 5 to 11 years old. They would be the youngest age group to be vaccinated. And the reason that's important is because we've said for months that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. That includes children under 12 who are not allowed to be vaccinated. It's the largest share of new infections are children aged 5 to 14 in Orange County, which Dr. Raul Pino pointed out, could spell the beginning of the end of COVID-19 if this eventually gets approved.
Having access to vaccines for that age group is going to mean the beginning of the end of the pandemic. Because when you open it up to a larger segment of the population, then we can really be more effective of interfering transmission. That's an important segment, has been about 25 to 20% of the new infections. So if we are able to increase vaccination rates 5 to 11 to 70%, 80%, we'll be in good shape.
All right, so comments from Raul Pino yesterday, and the thing is, one of the things he keeps pointing out is there's this 5% number of positivity that they're aiming for, and we're not quite there yet.
Right, and if there's good news, there's been steady decline of that rate. So it at least is trending like we're going to get there, and potentially, probably, like in the relatively near future. Like it might take a couple of weeks, but we're dropping percentage points every few days. So that's a good sign. Hospitalizations statewide are going down, which is also a great sign. They were statewide as high as 19,000 or so, which was far and away a record. The Florida Hospital Association has reported we're in like the 8,000 range right now, and those are also dropping very quickly. If there's a negative to that, one of the reasons they're dropping is a lot of people are dying from the virus, so they're no longer in the hospital. As we mentioned, August was the record for deaths here in Orange County. It's probably that number kind of grows every day because these reporting can be delayed. So I would fully expect that number to reach 400. It's 388 right now. The expectation is that will climb. September will probably also be high for deaths because really it's the lagging indicator. So while everything is getting better, that is the one that's still rising. I don't know if it'll get to 400, but so there is some darkness amidst the optimism here, but things are headed at least in the right direction in terms of potentially getting this thing under control.
Yeah, let's circle back real quick to the vaccinations with school children. As far as Orange County, do they have a plan to try to get this out into the community, try to get the word out that it is something that has been, I say, approved from Pfizer to use with school children?
Yeah, once it gets to the point where the FDA signs off on it, there is a plan. We don't know like all of the details of it yet, but what it sounds like will be happening is the ability to vaccinate children with their parent there and signing off on a permission slip and all that within some schools. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but Dr. Pino said that they are talking to contractors and OCPS about trying to put together a plan to figure out how to roll that out. And that would be a pretty monumental step because with these kids in school, it's the virus is going from child to child, especially when you consider it's the highest share of our infection. So if they can bring the shots to the children, obviously with their parents signing off, like I said, that would be a good way to rapidly get these kids inoculated.
All right. Well, thanks for that update, Ryan. You can read about more on OrlandoSentinel.com right now as more information comes out about the vaccinations and numbers in the region. All right, we're going to move forward here to Dwayne Bevel, and we're going to talk about a first look at a restaurant out at Epcot, Space 220. Dwayne, seems like a fun one.
Right. So Space 220 is open at Epcot now. It's open to the public. This week, you can get in line and get in. After that, you're going to need a reservation, which is going to be tricky to get because it's themed out the wazoo. It's very Disney themed. Play along. You're going into space. That's what the whole 220 is about. You are sent 220 miles up, I guess, into the cosmos for your dinner.
You pretty much mentioned your story, though. This is Epcot to the max. Like, if there was actually a word for this, Epcotiest, I guess. Is that the word you said?
That's my new word for the day, Epcotiest. Yeah, it's futuristic. There's a little bit of education thrown in there. There's a lot of, it's almost role play. They could talk about, the air pressure and, are you feeling okay? Because we're so far into space. But they also make reference to artificial gravity, I guess, so your meal doesn't float off, sort of thing. They're trying to cover a lot of bases, and then on the backside, I wish I had measurements on this, giant screens, like 11 panels. Once you're up there, you can see the Earth, you see things floating by, you see families, you see other space vessels, just sort of, I don't know if you'd say real time, but as you're eating, you're kind of steered that way, and things float by. Day and night. The atmosphere changes as you're sitting there. Atmosphere. Yes.
That's awesome. You mentioned that it already is pretty popular. Like, it's just opening. As far as the size of the restaurant, is it a decent size? Is this going to be a really hard ticket to get into?
So it seats almost 400 people. But it is you have a server. It's not like a counter serve, which there's more churn with that. People are going to sit. Honestly, they've waited. They're paying a pretty hefty price, and no one's in any rush to leave because there's so much to look at. You are in this Centauri space station. And for those people who waited yesterday, I mean, they're not going to rush out of there in 10 minutes. So I'm not sure how fast the tables were turnover. It's the second day. No one really knows yet. I had friends who were in line yesterday when I left at 12:30, where they said they had been told it was going to take them 3 hours. But later I heard from them, and it took 6 hours for them to get in. So, you can't reserve that far. You can only reserve out 60 days. And when I looked yesterday into mid-November, there was nothing. So you're going to be lucky and diligent and focused, I think, after Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about theming, we talked about this wait, but what about the food? What's that like? I mean, I imagine it's all space themed. Is it astronaut ice cream?
No, the theming of the food is mainly in the naming. I would say there's a non-alcoholic drink called Light Year Lemonade. They kind of stashed some cosmic adjectives in front of it, but there was seafood, there was beef, pretty large portions. It's one of those things where you pick one appetizer from this list, you pick one entree from this list, and call it a day for lunch. And at dinner, there's a round of dessert as well.
That sounds awesome. Well, let me circle back real quick. Where is it at?
So it's in what we call Future World now. It'll later be called World Discovery, but more specifically, it's built into the same building as Mission Space, kind of bare to the right. It's not particularly new space. And then, of course, you take the elevator up to the space station.
All right. Well, good one there. Looking forward to that. You can take
Return
a look.
trip is 11,000 miles per hour. So, I would hold on to the rail.
That sounds pretty awesome. That's good advice. All right. Well, that's a good one there from Dwayne. You can go ahead and read about his story right now on OrlandoSentinel.com. But we're going to go ahead and push pause for today. Appreciate you being with us. Of course, if you like what you do, go ahead and go to OrlandoSentinel.com/subscribe and become a subscriber. We always appreciate that. Appreciate the support. But we're going to go ahead and call it quits. Till next time, I'm Rich, Dwayne, and Ryan. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on OrlandoSentinel.com.